My family sued me for custody of my baby after I refused to name her after my toxic mother. Now they say I'm mentally unfit for motherhood. Throw away because this is currently in litigation and I'm terrified someone will recognize the details, but I need to get this out somewhere because I feel like I'm losing my mind. This started 8 months ago and has escalated into the most insane legal battle I never thought I'd be fighting. I, 26F, had my daughter Lily in January. She's my first child, and honestly, becoming a mom has been the most amazing and terrifying experience of my life. My boyfriend Marcus, 28M, and I aren't married yet, but we've been together for 4 years and we're completely committed to each other and to our daughter. For context, my mother Patricia, 54F, is what you'd call a classic narcissist. Everything has to be about her, she needs constant attention and validation, and she has this way of making every situation somehow revolve around her needs and feelings. Growing up with her was exhausting, and I've spent most of my adult life trying to establish healthy boundaries. Some examples of her behavior over the years. She wore white to my high school graduation because she wanted to feel special on such an important day. When I got my first job out of college, she told everyone it was because she raised me to be successful, and spent my celebration dinner talking about her own career. She's sabotaged multiple relationships by telling my boyfriends that I was difficult, and, just like my father, they're divorced. She once showed up uninvited to a therapy session I was having and demanded to know what I was saying about her. I've been in therapy for 3 years working through the damage from growing up with her constant manipulation and emotional abuse. My therapist has helped me understand that maintaining a relationship with her requires very strict boundaries, which Patricia absolutely hates. When I got pregnant, I knew dealing with Patricia was going to be challenging, but I had no idea how bad it would get. The pregnancy itself was relatively smooth, though Patricia made it all about her from day one. She immediately started planning the baby shower without asking me, announced my pregnancy on her Facebook before I was ready to go public, and constantly gave unsolicited advice about everything from what I should eat to what stroller I should buy. But the real drama started when she found out we weren't finding out the baby's sex until birth. How am I supposed to plan properly if I don't know if it's a boy or girl? She demanded during one family dinner when I was about 6 months along. You don't need to plan anything, I told her. Marcus and I have everything handled. That was apparently the wrong answer, because she spent the rest of the evening pouting and making passive-aggressive comments about how some people don't appreciate when family wants to help. The name conversation started around my 7th month. We were at Sunday dinner at my grandmother's house, my dad's mom, who Patricia tolerates because she hosts family gatherings, and Patricia started talking about family traditions. You know, Rebecca, she said, using the full name she knows I hate instead of Becca, I've been thinking about names for the baby. If it's a girl, you should name her Patricia, after me. It would be such a beautiful way to honor family tradition. I nearly choked on my water. Mom, Marcus and I already have names picked out for either gender. We're not changing them. But think about how meaningful it would be, she continued, completely ignoring what I'd just said. Patricia is such a classic, elegant name. And it would show respect for your mother and everything I've done for you. Marcus squeezed my hand under the table. We'd actually discussed this exact scenario, knowing Patricia would probably try to insert herself into the naming process. We appreciate the suggestion, Marcus said diplomatically, but we're really happy with the names we've chosen. Patricia's face went through about 5 different emotions in 3 seconds. What names? We're keeping them private until the baby is born, I said. Wrong answer again. Patricia spent the rest of the dinner interrogating us about our name choices, making increasingly dramatic proclamations about how important family names are, and telling stories about how she'd always dreamed of having a granddaughter named after her. When that didn't work, she switched tactics. She started calling other family members to complain about how disrespectful I was being and how she was heartbroken that I wouldn't honor her with the baby's name. My Aunt Carol called me a few days later. Becca, honey, your mom is really upset about this name thing. Would it be so bad to use Patricia as a middle name, at least? Aunt Carol, I love you, but no. Marcus and I are the parents, and we get to choose our daughter's name. But she's so excited about being a grandmother. Can't you throw her this one bone? This is how Patricia operates. She gets other people to fight her battles for her by playing the victim until someone else tries to pressure me into giving her what she wants. The calls and texts escalated over the next month. Patricia started sending me articles about the importance of honoring your elders and family naming traditions. She bought a bunch of baby items with Patricia embroidered on them and left them at my apartment, just in case I changed my mind. When Lily was born in January, it was the most incredible day of my life. She was perfect 7 pounds, 3 ounces, with Marcus's dark hair and my blue eyes. After all the drama of pregnancy, holding her felt like everything finally made sense. We announced her name on social media, Lily Rose Thompson, Marcus's last name. We'd chosen Lily because we both loved the flower, and Rose was after my paternal grandmother, who had been the most loving, stable adult in my childhood. The response from most people was wonderful. Friends and extended family sent congratulations and said how beautiful the name was. Patricia's response was different. She called me while I was still in the hospital, screaming about how I'd betrayed her and humiliated her in front of the whole family. She said I was ungrateful and cruel, and that she couldn't believe I'd chosen to honor his dead grandmother instead of your own living mother. Mom, Rose was my grandmother too, I said, trying to stay calm because I was literally holding my newborn daughter. And this isn't about you. Everything is about me when it comes to my granddaughter. She yelled. I carried you for 9 months. I raised you. I sacrificed everything for you, and this is how you repay me. I hung up on her. Over the next few weeks, Patricia's behavior got worse. She started telling people that Marcus was controlling me and had brainwashed me into not honoring my family. She claimed that I was having postpartum depression and wasn't thinking clearly. She showed up at our apartment uninvited multiple times, demanding to hold Lily and saying things like, "Don't worry, sweetheart, Grandma Patricia will make sure you know your real family name." When I told her she needed to call before visiting, she accused me of keeping her from her granddaughter, and started calling other family members to complain about how I was alienating her. The breaking point came when Lily was about 2 months old. I was at the grocery store with her when I ran into Patricia's friend Janet. "Oh, Becca, how's little Patricia doing?" Janet asked, reaching for the baby carrier. "Her name is Lily," I corrected. Janet looked confused. "But Patricia told me you named her after your mother. She's been calling her little Patricia this whole time." I was furious. Patricia had been telling people that we'd named the baby after her, essentially lying to everyone about my daughter's actual name. That night, I called Patricia and told her she needed to stop spreading false information about Lily's name and respect our boundaries as parents. "I'll call my granddaughter whatever I want," she said. "And if you don't like it, maybe you need to think about whether you're mature enough to be a mother." 2 weeks later, I got served with papers. Patricia had filed for grandparents' rights and emergency custody of Lily, claiming that I was mentally unstable and an unfit mother who was denying the child access to her extended family. I sat in my living room holding these legal documents, with Lily sleeping peacefully in my arms, trying to process what was happening. My own mother was trying to take my baby away from me because I wouldn't name her Patricia. The petition was full of lies and distortions. She claimed I had severe postpartum depression and was unable to care for the child properly. I don't have PPD. I was evaluated by my doctor and am doing fine. She said Marcus was controlling and potentially abusive, and had isolated me from my family. Marcus has been nothing but supportive. She alleged that I was refusing medical care for the infant. Lily had been to every scheduled pediatric appointment. She claimed I was living in unsanitary conditions. Our apartment is clean and baby-proofed. She said I was financially unstable and unable to provide for the child. I'm on maternity leave but have a good job to return to, and Marcus works full-time, but the most insidious part was how she framed the name issue. According to her petition, my refusal to honor family naming traditions was evidence of my disconnection from reality and inability to make rational decisions for the child. She claimed that choosing to honor Marcus's grandmother instead of her showed that I was under the influence of my boyfriend and not capable of independent thought. She even got my Aunt Carol and two of her friends to sign affidavits supporting her claims, though I suspect they had no idea what they were actually signing. I immediately called a family law attorney, Sarah Martinez, who had been recommended by a friend. When I showed her the paperwork, her first reaction was professional outrage. "This is one of the most frivolous custody petitions I've ever seen," she said. "Your mother is essentially trying to weaponize the court system because she didn't get her way about a baby name." Sarah explained that grandparents' rights laws vary by state, but generally require proof that the parents are actually unfit or that denying access would harm the child's well-being. Simply disagreeing about a name doesn't qualify. "The good news is that your mother's case is extremely weak," Sarah said. "The bad news is that you're going to have to defend yourself against these accusations, which means time, money, and emotional stress." The next few months were a nightmare. Patricia's lawyer, who I later learned was a family friend doing her a favor, started demanding documentation of everything: my medical records, financial statements, employment history, Marcus's background check, photos of our living space. They wanted proof that I wasn't mentally ill, wasn't being abused, wasn't neglecting Lily, wasn't living in poverty. I had to prove negatives, essentially demonstrate that I wasn't all the terrible things Patricia was claiming. The worst part was the court-ordered psychological evaluation. I had to sit with a stranger for hours, talking about my childhood, my relationship with Patricia, my mental health history, my parenting choices, all while trying to prove that I was sane and competent. "Tell me about your decision not to name your daughter after your mother," the psychologist said during one session. "My boyfriend and I chose a name we both loved," I explained. "It wasn't about rejecting my mother. It was about picking something that felt right for our daughter. Your mother seems to feel that this decision was disrespectful and hurtful." "Maybe, but parents get to name their own children. I don't think that's controversial." The psychologist made notes. Everything I said was being analyzed for signs of mental instability or poor judgment. Meanwhile, Patricia was playing the victim to anyone who would listen. She told extended family that I was keeping Lily away from her, and that she was fighting for her granddaughter's welfare. Some relatives who didn't know the full story started pressuring me to just settle and work things out with your mother. "She just wants to be involved in the baby's life," my cousin Maria said during one particularly frustrating phone call. "Can't you compromise? Maria, she's trying to take custody of my baby because I wouldn't name her Patricia. This isn't about involvement, this is about control. But maybe if you just let her visit more often, she'd drop the lawsuit?" This is the insidious thing about Patricia's manipulation. She makes her unreasonable demands seem reasonable by framing them as just wanting to be close to family, or help with the baby. People who don't know her well can't see the pattern of control and boundary violations. The court case dragged on for months. Every few weeks, there was another hearing, another deposition, another expert to meet with. I was spending thousands of dollars and countless hours defending my right to parent my own child. Patricia's case kept falling apart under scrutiny. When the court-appointed child advocate interviewed me, she found no evidence of unfitness or instability. When they inspected our apartment, everything was clean and appropriate for a baby. When they reviewed Lily's medical records, she was clearly healthy and well cared for. Most damaging to Patricia's case was her own behavior during the proceedings. She couldn't help herself from making dramatic statements that revealed her true motivations. During her deposition, when asked why she thought I was unfit, she said, "Any woman who would refuse to honor her mother by naming her child appropriately clearly has serious judgment issues." When asked about the specific name I'd chosen, she said, "Lily is a ridiculous name." Patricia is a much more sophisticated, meaningful choice that shows respect for family. The court-appointed psychologist who evaluated her noted in his report that Patricia displayed narcissistic tendencies and an excessive need for control over her adult daughter's decisions. The final hearing was in September, when Lily was 8 months old. By then, Patricia's case had become obviously frivolous, but she was still fighting. Her lawyer made one last attempt to argue that my estrangement from my mother was harmful to Lily and that court-ordered visitation would be in the child's best interests. "Your Honor," Sarah responded, the petitioner filed for emergency custody because she disagreed with her granddaughter's name. This case has been a waste of the court's time and a harassment of new parents who are guilty of nothing more than making independent choices about their child. The judge dismissed Patricia's petition entirely and ordered her to pay my legal fees. In his ruling, he wrote that the case appeared to be motivated by the petitioner's personal grievances rather than genuine concern for the child's welfare, and that disagreement over naming choices does not constitute evidence of parental unfitness. Patricia lost completely, but the damage was done. I'd spent 8 months of my daughter's first year fighting a legal battle that should never have happened. I'd paid over $15,000 in legal fees. I'd been forced to prove my sanity and competence as a mother because I chose my own child's name. The aftermath has been complicated. Patricia has officially lost her lawsuit, but she hasn't given up her campaign to control the narrative around Lily and our family. She's still telling people that the court case was about grandparents' rights, and that I'm keeping Lily away from family. She conveniently leaves out the part about trying to take custody over a name dispute. She's also started a new tactic, sending Lily gifts and cards addressed to Patricia Rose Thompson, using the name she thinks my daughter should have. When I told her to stop, she said she was just correcting a mistake, and that she had every right to use her granddaughter's proper name. I've gone no contact with Patricia for now, which has caused drama with other family members who think I'm being too harsh. Some relatives still don't understand why I won't just let things blow over and move on from the lawsuit. She's still your mother, Aunt Carol said recently. And Lily should know her grandmother. Carol, she tried to take my baby away from me because I wouldn't name her Patricia. That's not normal grandmother behavior. But the court case is over now. Can't you forgive and forget? This is the thing people don't understand. You can't just move on from someone trying to steal your child. Even though Patricia lost, the fact that she was willing to put us through that trauma reveals something fundamental about who she is and what she's capable of. Marcus has been incredible through all of this. He's supported every boundary I've set and never once suggested that I should just give in to keep the peace. When people ask him about the situation, he's very clear. Patricia tried to take our daughter away because we didn't name her what she wanted. That's not something you get over. Lily is now 10 months old and absolutely perfect. She's crawling everywhere, babbling constantly, and has the most infectious giggle. She has no idea that there was ever any drama about her name or that someone tried to use the court system to control her parents. I love her name. Lily Rose suits her perfectly, and every time I say it, I feel good about the choice Marcus and I made together. Patricia can call her whatever she wants in her own head, but my daughter's name is Lily, and that's never going to change. The court case cost us a lot of money and emotional energy, but it also clarified something important. I will never let anyone, including my own mother, threaten my family for their own selfish purposes. I'm still in therapy working through the trauma of having my fitness as a mother questioned and attacked by someone who was supposed to love and support me. Some days I feel angry about the whole situation. Some days I feel sad that Lily won't have a relationship with her grandmother because Patricia can't accept basic boundaries. But mostly, I feel proud of myself for standing up to her. For refusing to give in to her manipulation and control tactics. For protecting my daughter from someone who sees her as a possession rather than a person. The psychologist's evaluation, which Patricia had demanded, actually ended up being helpful for me. It confirmed what I already knew, that I'm a loving, competent mother who's doing a good job raising her child. It also validated my decision to maintain boundaries with Patricia, noting that some family relationships require careful management to protect one's mental health and well-being. I've connected with other people online who've dealt with similar situations, parents whose own families have tried to weaponize the court system to maintain control. It's unfortunately more common than I realized, and it's almost always about power rather than genuine concern for children. To anyone dealing with something similar, trust your instincts. If someone is threatening your parental rights over normal parenting decisions, that's not love, that's manipulation. Document everything, get a good lawyer, and don't let anyone make you feel guilty for protecting your family. Patricia will probably never understand why what she did was wrong. In her mind, she was fighting for her rights as a grandmother and trying to save Lily from my poor parenting decisions. She can't see that trying to take someone's child away is traumatic and abusive, regardless of the motivation. But I understand now that I can't fix her or change her. All I can do is protect my daughter and my family from her toxicity. Lily will grow up knowing that her parents chose her name with love, that we fought to protect her from people who saw her as a way to settle old scores, and that she's valued for who she is rather than what she represents to other people. And honestly, that feels like the best possible outcome from this whole mess. TLDR. My narcissistic mother sued me for custody of my baby because I refused to name her Patricia. She claimed I was mentally unfit and financially unstable, forcing me to spend months and thousands of dollars defending my right to parent my own child. The court dismissed her case entirely, but the trauma of having my motherhood attacked over a name choice has permanently damaged our relationship.